Welcome to the Cinecaps Plus. Today, we're going to take a look at the film called Alita: Battle Angel. If you're ready, let's get started. In the year 2563, our planet Earth went through a big war called the Fall. Up in the sky, there's a floating city called Zalem, which stays up there thanks to really fancy engineering. Underneath it, there's a city named Iron City. They have a tube that goes from the factory in Iron City all the way up to Zalem. In Iron City, there's a place called the Junkyard, and there, a doctor named Dr. Dyson Ito found something amazing. It was the core of a female cyborg, with a brain and a core heart, but no body or arms and legs. Dr. Ito, with the help of a nurse, decided to put together a new body for this cyborg in his clinic. When the cyborg woke up, she didn't remember anything about herself, so Dr. Ito named her Alita. As it turns out, Dr. Ito had a daughter named Alita who had passed away. The new robotic body was actually made for his daughter, who couldn't walk and needed a wheelchair. Sadly, she never got to use it because she was killed by a bad person who broke into Dr. Ito's clinic looking for drugs. Dr. Ito's partner, Shiran, was also Alita's mom. After Alita's death, Dr. Ito and Shiran went separate ways. They had come to Iron City from Zalem and were kind of like outcasts. Shiran's big dream was to go back to Zalem, and she worked for a guy named Vector, who promised to help her get there. Vector was the boss in charge of the motorball competition in Iron City, and he had the power from a Zalem scientist named Nova to send people to Zalem. Whoever won the motorball competition got a ticket to Zalem thanks to Vector. Alita made friends with a boy named Hugo, who also wanted to go up to Zalem. He told her about becoming a hunter-warrior, like a tough bounty hunter with a cool sword. Hunter-warriors in Iron City made money by catching bad guys. Hugo also introduced Alita to the motorball races nearby. At first, Alita had a hard time, and some kids made fun of her when she fell down. But she was determined, and eventually, she got really good at motorball and scored a goal. Alita found out that Ito was a hunter-warrior one night when she followed him. They met three scary cyborgs. When Ito got hurt, Alita tried to help him and discovered she was really good at a super old fighting style called Panzerkunst. While they fought, Alita remembered her life on Mars when she used to be a warrior with Code 99. With her cool skills, she beat up two of the cyborgs and messed up the third one, Gruishka, who ran away underground. Gruishka promised to come back and get Alita. Even though Alita was good at fighting, Ito didn't want her to be a hunter-warrior. Then, Vector and Shiran found out how good Alita was, and they got an order from Nova to get rid of her. Nova told Shiran she could go back to Zalem if she succeeded. Turns out, Gruishka worked for Vector and Shiran. Vector told Hugo and his friends to attack cyborgs and take their body parts to fix and upgrade Gruishka. He promised to send Hugo to Zalem once he collected enough credits. Remember this part for later. The next day, Hugo and his pals took Alita to a forest outside the city. They found an old spaceship from a long time ago. Alita went inside through an underwater door and came out with a berserker warrior cyborg body. Ito didn't want to put her in that body because he wanted her to have a better life, not as a fighter. Alita was upset and signed up as a hunter-warrior against his wishes. Alita and Hugo went to the Kansas bar to ask other hunter-warriors for help against Gruishka. They said no because Gruishka wasn't on the wanted list, and there was no reward for beating him. Zapan tried to scare Alita, but she beat him easily in a fight and embarrassed him. After that, Alita challenged all the other hunter-warriors and started a big fight in the bar. Ito came in and stopped the fight just in time. An upgraded Gruishka came to the bar and challenged Alita again. Even though she was brave and knew martial arts, Gruishka cut up her body with his sharp fingers before Ito and another hunter-warrior made him run away. With no other choice, Ito put Alita in the berserker body, and it became a part of her. Vector realized that Alita wasn't easy to beat. He set up a motorball match where everyone had to try to kill Alita for a lot of credits. At the same time, he told Hugo to enter Alita in the motorball competition. If Alita won, both Hugo and Alita could go to Zalem. Alita, with her newfound body, experienced an astounding transformation that endowed her with superhuman strength and remarkable flexibility. This remarkable upgrade filled her with an exhilarating sense of power and invincibility, setting the stage for an unexpected adventure that would test her abilities and resolve. Driven by a deep connection to Hugo, Alita decided to pursue her passion for motorball racing, a sport that held a special place in Hugo's heart. He had asked her to join him in this adrenaline-fueled pursuit, and she couldn't refuse his request. However, what initially seemed like a thrilling opportunity quickly took a dark and treacherous turn. Unbeknownst to Alita, the other racers in the motorball competition were not mere thrill-seekers like herself. Instead, they were a menacing assembly of hunter warriors and ruthless cyborgs, strategically positioned by Vector, a nefarious figure with ulterior motives. Their mission, to harm and eliminate Alita, viewing her as a threat to their sinister plans. Meanwhile, in the shadows of this chaotic motorball world, another antagonist named Zapan was plotting his revenge against both Hugo and Alita. Zapan was a formidable adversary, and he seized an opportunity to exact his vengeance when he caught Hugo and his loyal friend Tanji in a compromising situation. In a shocking act of brutality, Zapan inflicted serious harm upon Tanji, all the while deceitfully placing the blame on Hugo for their illegal activities involving the theft of cyborg components. This twisted scheme not only threatened Hugo's freedom but also ignited a dangerous feud that would further entangle Alita in a web of danger and intrigue. As these intricate threads of fate unraveled, Alita found herself navigating a treacherous path where her incredible abilities would be put to the ultimate test. And her unyielding determination would be her only ally in the battle against formidable foes and unforeseen challenges. Now, there's a big reward for catching Hugo, and all the hunter warriors are looking for him. While Alita was racing in motorball, Hugo was trying to run away from Zapan. Hugo called Alita and told her to meet him at an old church. After Alita beat the other racers, she went to the church to find Zapan and learn what really happened to Hugo. But here's the crazy part, Shirin was at the church too, and she was supposed to hurt Alita. But instead, she saved Hugo's life by putting his head on a cyborg body and using Alita's heart to keep his brain working. Zapan got really mad, and Alita had to fight him. She took his sword and cut off his face. Ito, the doctor, put Hugo's head on a cyborg body and told Alita that Hugo's dream of going to Zalem for a lot of money was a lie made up by Vector. People from Iron City could never go to Zalem. Alita went to find Vector and learned that Shirin had been killed, and her body parts were going to Zalem. That was the only way people from Iron City could go to Zalem. Alita fought Gruishka and Vector and promised to get revenge for Hugo. Meanwhile, Hugo tried to climb up to Zalem with his new cyborg body. Alita begged him to come back, but a big ring sent by Nova came down and hurt him really bad. Alita held onto Hugo's arm, but it broke, and he said goodbye. Alita was so sad but determined to remember Hugo. In the end, Alita became the best motorball racer, and everyone cheered for her. She pointed her sword at Zalem, and Nova watched her from above.